Flosstube. I am Molly West, the Sensible Stitcher, and I'm going to do what should be a very quick update. I'm coming back 1 week later. I've never done two floss tubes so close to one another, so we'll see how this goes. I had a new start this week, so I will begin there. I realized through news and social media that we had exactly 100 days until election day, and so I started what I have intended to stitch for a very long time, which is Little House Needleworks Suffrage Act Proclaimed. Just the top border, getting some of the words in. And I will tell you that I have made substitutions. I am trying so hard right now to stitch from stash. So I'm doing my best. Let's see, I am using the fabric it's on is 40 count. I'm stitching at 40 count 1/2 on cream Newcastle linen. And I have substituted, I know that I kept Cherry Cobbler the same because that is one of my absolute favorite colors. So I know that I kept that one the same. And my substitutions for her dress, I'm going to use Honeysuckle, which is much more of a yellow than the called for. These are my biggest changes. Is this will be the color of her dress, is that honeysuckle color, and the lettering across the top. I didn't use the, I believe that it called for black coffee. It was like a near black, and I went with, this is all curled up, but a brown called Hickory Sticks. And I am excited. I'm gonna try to put in 2 lengths of thread per day and see if I can finish it in the next 100 days. And if for any reason I get close to the 100 days and I'm not there yet, I will just make it a focus piece so that I can get it. I would like to get it done by election day. So the next thing that I worked on a lot of borders. So as you saw on the Suffrage Act, I worked on the top border of that. And when I decided to pull out Wisdom by Long Dog Samplers, I decided to work on the border for this one mostly also. And I will insert a picture of the chart here. And I am stitching this Long Dog Wisdom. I am stitching it on 28 count bright white even weave. And I am using all of the called for colors. The colors are just genius, so I have no interest in changing any of them. And I worked on this border on this side, and the colors, let's see, the colors in the border are so beautiful. Oh my stars. And I got the small flower stitched in on the side of the words. So I worked on that side. Next, I believe I'll come over here, hopefully finish up these words and then work on the border over here. And then at that point, I will be 1/3 complete and part of the bottom third will be complete. And then after I finish the bottom third, I will work my way up. So I'm getting excited about that one. I do try to pull it out towards the end of the month because even though I started this bright and colorful, cheerful, every color in the rainbow piece in honor of Autism Awareness Month. So I started it in April, which means I am not a part of the Long Dog Leap Day Sal. I have just sort of leached on to the fact that they are all stitching on the 29th of the month, and so that's when I stitch on mine as well. And so when a a month has several days towards the end, it's always nice. I feel like I get a lot more work done on that big boy. So he'll be put up for a little while. The next thing that I worked on was, let's see, I worked on the border of this, and this is going to have to become a focus piece because I'm still not finished with it. It is Homespun Elegance, the Holiest of Nights. I will insert a photograph of it here. I had written, previous to this, I had ripped out about half of the border because I had stitched this incorrectly and it impacted everything around it. So I came back and, like with the other two, I worked on the border. So I came in here, I corrected this, worked around the corner and over to the side, and I added some of these, I'm not sure if they're flowers or berries, but I got some of those stitched in. And I have a few berries left. I've got sand, Mary, Joseph, baby Jesus, and then there's a large star right here. So I really would like to make this a focus piece next week and see if I can maybe push towards a finish next week, if not the week after that. So I'm getting close. I'm happy that I got that progress. You know, it's never fun to rip out stitches and go back and restitch stuff, but I feel like I made a lot of progress on that one. So I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see what this is. Oh, I worked on such a fun one. I worked on the border on this one also, and it is Oh Marie. I'll insert a photograph. And I'm not sure where she was the last time that you guys saw her. She's so pretty, but I got a ton of her roses stitched in. This side, I have made it over here all the way to the corner. So I've got, I've made it to the last of this row. And y'all, I think I only have maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 roses left, maybe a little bit more than that on this side, and I will be finished with the roses across the top. So that's very exciting. I also added a few more letters, and so I think that when I finish the row of roses over here, I'm going to kind of reward myself with filling in. There are so many beautiful things about this. Obviously, she is beautiful, but there are bouquets of roses. There are candles. The chart is just chock full of such lovely things. I mean, just stars and just so pretty. Beautiful, beautiful. So when I finish that top band of roses, I'm going to kind of reward myself by switching things up for a little while before I start working on, you know, the bands coming down the sides. But the good news is I think I've got the pattern memorized, which is always nice because it wasn't, while it is repetitive, it is, it's a little more complex than some of the borders that I stitch. So anyways, I love her. There she is again. She is looking so beautiful. She is on a 28 count Lugana, and I believe the name of this color is Whisper, and it's just a gray. Ah, so pretty. The next one I worked on is, I pulled out 2 kind of older WIPs that need a little love. This one is so beautiful. It's, you know, it's so funny that I say that every time. Obviously, we all think that every WIP we have is so beautiful, or we wouldn't have invested the money or the time or, you know, figured out how to get it shipped to us. But this, it's just so beautiful, so beautiful. It is by Modern Folk Embroidery, and I will include a close-up picture of it here. It is the Japanese, it's a Japanese sampler. This one I am stitching on a bright white 28 count 2/2. And again, I worked on the border. I felt like I wanted to be extra productive with some of the things that have, you know, sometimes they just can slow you down. Not not slow you down. That's not the right way to say that. Sometimes the motifs are so enticing that I tend to jump straight into them and leave the border for last. So I've had a border week. The last time that I showed this, which has been a long time ago, if I've shown it at all, I was probably right about here. So I filled in all the rest of the border, and I am using 2 threads. It's a 2/2 on 28 count, and I am using a blend of 2 DMC thread colors. It is 809 and 793, which are both pretty neutral but have very different values. And I love that tweed look. So that was fun to kind of get going on this one that I haven't pulled out in a really long time. The next one I have is in a similar vein, only that it's blue. It's a blue sampler. Let's see. I've had this for a long time. There are some beautiful things in here that I really cannot wait to stitch. But the one that I'm currently stitching, that's been in my WIP pile for quite a while, is this one. Again, I worked on the border, but I also worked on a lot of the back stitch. So the last time that I worked on this, all of the full crosses were in. This time I put all of the back stitch in this tree. I did the back stitch around the 2 lovebirds, which I believe is the name of this pattern. And the entire border of this is back stitch with the exception of a few full crosses in here. And so I got the top part of the border put in. The reason that I stopped here is because the pattern comes down to about here. I still have a good bit of stitching left, but I was really happy to pick this one up again. I haven't touched this since, goodness, maybe last year. I mean, it's been a long time, but this book this is an older book. Let me look really quickly and I can tell you what year this was published. Leslie Tier is the person who published it, and it was published in 2007. But I have, when I do finish the trilogy, there's a landscape, a 3-part landscape, and I'm here. So when I do finish them, I would, and I probably will stitch all 3. I think they're really beautiful together. But there is another chart in here that I just cannot wait to stitch. Let's see, I was right next to it. People are so patient. And it's this one, Mandarin Ducks. They are so pretty. Aren't they different? So that is not happening anytime soon, but I'm happy that I have the book and I will stitch it at some point. Let's see. So I think that was it. Oh no, I had a new start, a second new start this week. And it was a teeny tiny start. It's one of those starts where I almost don't even want to show you because it is so small, but I'm going to go ahead and show you. I have gifted my youngest daughter 2 cross stitches in the last couple of months. I've gifted my oldest son, I have 3 kids, and I gifted my oldest son a cross stitch in July. And I haven't stitched anything for my middle daughter. The WIP that I had working for her is in Craft Prison, so I was thinking I was going to start something new. And so I have finally decided what I'm going to start. Let's see, just do this. She is 13 years old, and she is on the autism spectrum, and she just absolutely loves Thumbelina. And so I am going to be stitching Thumbelina for her. out of the book Fables and Fairy Tales. And I've stitched several things out of this book. I love it. But I have kids at home, so I could see how maybe it wouldn't be for everyone, but it has been really great for us. So I am stitching this for my middle daughter, and I'm almost ashamed to show you. I'm starting at the bottom here. Thumbelina was so tiny that her bed was made out of, I think, an acorn shell. So here we are, the bottom of my acorn shell. This is nothing. Ooh, 12 stitches, no. But it is on a bright white 32 count, 2/2, and I'm using all the called for colors. The called for colors in that particular book, the Fables and Fairy Tale book, are beautiful. They are, when I pull them, you know how when you pull colors, you know almost immediately whether or not it is your aesthetic and whether or not it kind of appeals to you and whether or not you think it's going to appeal to the recipient. And I thought immediately that seemed exactly like her. It's very soft and sweet, and she is very, very sweet too, and she is just precious. And so I have a very quick, cute story about my middle daughter who tends to be quite literal, which is not uncommon in the autism community. I'm sure that it's not a hard and fast rule that all autistics are literal, but my daughter happens to be autistic and also happens to be very literal. And I made a big lunch plate yesterday, and I carried it in there, and she has a lot of food allergies, and so it had things like broccoli and celery and strawberries and blueberries and some sunflower seeds. And she looked at it, she goes, "Oh, a plate full of plants, yum." And I thought, oh my gosh, you're right, it is a plate full of plants, but my brain just would not have gone there. She is the she keeps me on my toes. She is so funny and so cute, and I love her literal thinking. It's just fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And that's all I've got for today, friends. I think next week I am going to pull out my Heaven and Earth design a little bit. I haven't worked on him for a long time. It's a black and white horse. I'm going to work on my prized pig. From, I think it's Stacy Nash, and I've got a few kind of things that have lingered that when I started working on some of these older projects, I thought, I need to pull out some of these other things that haven't gotten much attention lately. So I think next week I might do that a bit, and I'm gonna give myself a break from all these borders. I pretty much just stitched borders all week, which was good. That's great, like TV watching, low-key stitching, but I think next week I'm gonna bust out my Heaven and Earth design. Anyways, you guys have a great week, and I'll see you next weekend. Bye.